Hello everyone, Cousin here, and in this video, I'm gonna be solving Wordle number 1431 and New York Times Hard Sudoku for May 20th, 2025. So let's get this video started with Wordle number 1431. I'm gonna start with the word grown. Alright, got the R, O, and N, yellow, so these three letters go somewhere else in this word. Now it could be ER ending, but we also have O and N. So could it be something like this? Loner. Let's try it and see what happens. Okay, well, I did place the O, and N and R are still not yet placed correctly, but I also know that E is another letter of this word, so E could go last. I think it's the most likely, because surely it won't be EO, and I don't think OE is going to be likely at all, so it should be last. Um, ORNE. Um, this, I mean, this is going somewhere, I feel like. Born. And that is today's Wordle answer. Alright. So yeah, I did think, um, I did feel like born was, oh, what am I saying? I did feel like something was, up there. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but anyway, I just kind of visualized ORNE ending. Like, there's a valid word, so born was the answer. The first two guesses was quite, they were quite lucky for me. So I got 4 out of the 5 letters by the time after I make my second guess. I don't know what's going on with me today. I just can't deliver my message to you. Anyway, I got today's Wordle answer born in 3 tries, so quite a good performance. I'll definitely take that. Alright, so born is today's Wordle answer. Got it in 3 tries. This is Wordle number 1431. Let's now move on to New York Times Sudoku. Again, today is May 20th, 2025. Let's start the hard difficulty Sudoku for today. This one points down and this one points right. So in block 6, the digit 1 is forced into this cell, and then these ones point down. Alright, these 2's force the digit 2 into this cell in block 3. These 3's force the digit 3 into this cell in block 8. This 3 points up and this 3 points right. So in block 3, the digit 3 is forced into row 3. So a hidden 3 here, and this 3 points left. Alright, now for the 4's, these 4's points up and these 4's points left. Well, I do spot a 2-5 pair in block 8. As you can see in block 8, the digits 2 and 5 are missing, but these 3 open cells up here see 2 and 5 in the same row. So in order to fit both 2 and 5 into block 8, I have to make these 2 cells reserved for 2 and 5. So these 2 cells form the 2-5 pair, and all other digits are eliminated from these 2 cells, leaving the remaining open cells in block 8 to form a 167 triple. This cell sees a 6. Alright, then these 6's point left, and this cell sees another 6. Okay, now similarly for the 1's, I can't have another open cell in the same row containing a 1. So this cell cannot contain 1 anymore, because it sees all the cells involved in the 167 triple. We know that 1 must appear in one of these 3 cells, which all lie in row 7. So no other open cells in the same row can contain 1, so I can eliminate 1 from this cell, and the 1 in block 9 therefore gets placed in this cell. 1 is forced into one of these 2 cells in block 7. Now these 9s point down, and this cell sees a 9. Oh, but the digit 9 in block 7 is forced into row 8, like this, because of these 9s. So a hidden 9 here eliminates 9 from this cell. Because we know that 9 is forced into one of these two cells, which are both in row 8. So I can't have another open cell in this row containing a 9. So 9 in block 9 is forced into this cell. 9 is forced into one of these two cells in block 5. And that's about it. Okay, in row 7, the 167 triple makes the other two open cells in this row a 4-8 pair, but this cell sees 8. So 4 and 8 are placed this way. Now, 5, 7, and 8 are the missing digits of block 9. This cell sees 8 and 5 from the 2-5 pair. Of course, this cell sees an 8, it's obvious, but it also sees 5 from the 2-5 pair. So among 5, 7, and 8, which go into these three cells, this cell can only be a 7, leaving the other two open cells to contain 5 and 8. Now this 5-8 pair makes the other three open cells in row 9 a 2, 6, 7 triple. This cell sees a 7, this cell sees a 6, and this cell sees a 2. Now these three cells are the other missing digits, 1, 4, and 9. Okay, now in column 2, these two cells see 2 and 7, so does this cell, it sees 2 and 7. But I still have to fit both 2 and 7 into column 2 because they are both missing, but cannot go into these open cells, right? So in order to fit both 2 and 7 into column 2, I have to make these two cells reserved for 2 and 7. Because all of the open cells in this column see other 2s and 7s, so only these two cells are available for both 2 and 7. So in order to fit both 2 and 7 into column 2, I have to make these two cells reserved for 2 and 7, which form a 2-7 pair. Eliminating all other digits from these two cells, and therefore makes the other three open cells in this column a 1, 3, 4 triple. But this cell sees 3 and this cell also sees 3, and of course 3 cannot go into the 2-7 pair, so in column 2, the digit 3 is forced into this cell. 3 goes into one of these two cells in block 4. Okay, so 2-7 pair makes these two cells 1-4 pair. Now this 7 points up, so in block 6, the digit 7 is forced into row 6. 3, 5, and 7 are missing from column 8. 3, 5, 7, this cell sees 5, so it's 3 or 7, this cell sees 3, so it's 5 or 7. Hmm. Okay, well, these 4s, they point up. Hmm. Right, well, in column 9, the missing digits are 5, 6, 7, and 8. This cell sees 8, so it's 5, 6, or 7. This cell sees 5, so it's 7, 6, or 8. Sorry, 6, 7, or 8, and this cell sees 7, so it's 5, 6, or 8. In row 1, the missing digits are 1, 4, 5, 7, and 8. 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, but C's 5 and 7. So this cell can only contain 1, 4, or 8. 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, but this cell sees 4 and 8. Um, so it's only 1, 5, or 7. 1, 4, 5, 7, 8. This only sees 1. And 7, sorry. Sees 1 and 7, so it's only 4, 5, or 8. Hmm. Well, in row 6, the missing digits are 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. This cell sees 3, 6, and 7. So this cell can only contain 5 or 8. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, but sees 3 and 6. So this cell can only contain 5, 7, or 8. Oh, but, sorry, this cell cannot contain 7. Oh, then it makes it easier. Alright, so remember that in block 6, these two cells see 7. So the digit 7 in block 6 is forced into row 6. 7 is guaranteed into one of these two cells. Even if it's not for the row, uh, it's still guaranteed because of block 6. So 7 must appear in one of these two cells, which occupies this slot for 7 for both block 6 and row 6. So 7 being guaranteed here eliminates 7 from these three cells. Now, apart from 7, the other missing digits of this row are 3, 5, 6, and 8. But, this cell, wait, 3, 5, 6, and 8. Yeah, this cell sees 3 and 6 as well as this cell. It also sees 3 and 6. So, the conclusion is that these two cells are only down to 5 and 8, which leave 3 and 6 in the other cells, but these two cells can only contain these two certain digits, 5 or 8. So, um, And another rule of Sudoku is that I must ensure that there are no empty cells towards the end. So to avoid these cells from being empty, I have to keep both 5 and 8 in these two cells. Either 5, 8 like this, or 8, 5. If I exclude 5 or 8 from these two cells, then at least one of the cells would end up being empty, and that'll break the Sudoku puzzle. So to avoid empty cells, I must keep both 5 and 8 in these two cells. So that these two cells form a 5-8 pair, and the result is that 5s and 8s are eliminated from all other open cells in this row, because they must appear in these two cells. I have to keep both 5 and 8 in these two cells for this row. So the other open cells in this row are just going to see 5 and 8. So I can't have 5 here. So these three cells are down to 3, 6, and 7. But, of course, cannot be 7, as I just mentioned. So these two cells now cannot contain 5, because they see the whole of 5, 8 pair. So in block 6, these two cells cannot contain 5, so the digit 5 in this... the digit 5 in block 6 is forced into one of these two cells, which both lie in column 7. So a hidden 5 here eliminates 5 from these cells, forcing 5 in this cell in block 9, as well as in this cell in block 3. Okay, now this cell is an 8 to complete the block, which eliminates 8 from this cell. Now for row 1, let's double check. The missing digits are 1, 4, 7, and 8, and this cell indeed sees 1, 7, and 8, so it must be a 4, as the markings show. And now, for the 1, 4 pair, this cell sees 4, so 1 and 4 resolve this way. This one also helps complete this row by placing 7 and 8 this way, because of these 7s and 8s. Now in block 1, the remaining missing digits are 4, 6, and 9. Now in column 7, the missing digits are 3, 5, and 6. So this cell sees 5, so it's only 3 or 6. 3, 5, 6, and 3, 5, because this cell sees 6. Well, the digit 1 in block 2 is forced into one of these two cells. Oh, there is a 4, 6, 9 triple in column 1. So it's the same concept as this 5, 8 pair. To avoid empty cells, I must keep 4, 6, and 9 in these three cells. If I exclude 4, 6, or 9 from these cells, then at least one of the cells would end up being empty, and that'll break the Sudoku puzzle. So to avoid empty cells, I must keep 4, 6, and 9 in these three cells. This forms a 4, 6, 9 triple, and the result is that 4s, 6s, and 9s are eliminated from all other open cells in this column, removing 4 from this cell and removing 6 from this cell, and this 4, 6, 9 triple makes the other three open cells in this column a 3, 7, 8 triple. Now this cell sees 3 and 8, so this must be a 7, leaving 3 and 8 in these two cells, but this cell also sees 8, so 3 and 8 this way. Now this 7, of course, helps complete row 9 by placing 2 and 6 this way. This is a 7 to complete the column. Oh, sorry, this cell cannot contain 8 anymore. Oh, sorry, 7. Cannot contain 7 anymore. The missing digits of block 4 are 2, 4, and 5. This cell sees 2 and 4, so it can only be a 5. Or the other way to place the 5 is by seeing that these two cells form a 5, 8 pair, but cannot be a 5. So 5 and 8 this way. Of course, you can also place the 4 and 2 this way by these 4s. Alright. And then these 8s point up. Okay, this is a 4, and this is a 1 to complete the column. 4, 6 pair left in block 1. Okay, this cell now sees a 3. So again, to double check, for block 6, I need 3, 5, 6, and 7, because they're the missing digits. But this cell sees 3, 6, and 7. So this cell can only be a 5. In row 5, 2, 7, and 9 are the missing digits, but this cell sees 2 and 7. So this cell is forced to be a 9, leaving 2 and 7 in the other two open cells in this row. 9 is forced into this cell in block 2, which puts a 4 into this cell, making this cell a 6 and this a 4. This 6 points back to the right, making this cell a 6 in block 3. So 6 is forced into this cell in block 6 and into this cell in block 5. Gets the 6 placed here as well. Completing rows 7 by 1 and 7 this way. This cell is a 3 to complete the column, which makes the cell 3, 7, 7, 8. 1. This cell sees 8, so 8 here and 5 to complete block 2. These 3 cells for row 4 form a 1, 3, 5 triple. This cell sees 1 and 3. So 1, well, this cell has to be a 5, and then this cell sees 1, this cell sees 3. So 3 and 1 this way, and this Sudoku puzzle is complete. Alright, so I finished today's New York Times Hard Sudoku in just under 19 minutes. So I would say the Sudoku puzzle is just the right difficulty. It's just the right difficulty. If some of the what I call key spots, you're gonna struggle for quite a bit of time. So I'll go over the key spots as a quick summary. So of course there were pairs and triples around the board. The most key or significant were the 5-8 pair in row 6 as well as the 4-6-9 triple in column 1. I feel like these are really key and crucial to kind of, solving the Sudoku puzzle more effectively and faster. Other key spots include the 2-5 pair in block 8 after placing this 3. So 2-5 pair here, which completed most of row 7. And I feel like it was sometimes just lining up some digits in certain blocks, such as the digit 7 in block 6 could only go into row 6. So that helps form the 5-8 pair. And things like that. Alright. So I think that's about it for this Sudoku puzzle. Mainly just the pairs and triples. The most crucial ones are 5-8 pair in row 6 and 4-6-9 triple in column 1. If you have any other questions or difficulties, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll be glad to reply you, and hopefully this video helped. Now again, I do find this Sudoku puzzle, in terms of hard difficulty, just the right difficulty. Now today's May 20th, 2025. In this video, I've solved Wordle number 1431 and New York Times Hard Sudoku for today. See you all next time. Bye! Hello everyone, Cousin here, and in this video, I'm gonna be solving Wordle number 1432 and New York Times Hard Sudoku for May 21st, 2025. So let's get this video started with Wordle number 1432. I'm gonna start with the word clone. Alright, only got the L green. So I've placed L as the second letter, and all the letters are not part of the word. So it could still be, well, it's very likely a double consonant, SLPL, FL, GL, or BL. These are all possible. Now, the third letter is most probably a vowel. I can try slurp and see what happens. Alright, I placed the L and R, but did not get the others correctly. Hmm. Flirt? It is possible. See, I think after the R, it could only be D, T, or Y. Of course, M is also possible, but in other words. Well, it could also be alarm, but I think R2 is the most likely. So I'm gonna try flirt and see what happens. Oh, damn. Okay, well, so A is the only vowel left, and it could actually be alarm. I think I'm gonna have to go for alarm here. I don't see any other words for now, so let's try it and see what happens. Alarm is today's Wordle answer. Alright, well, I was very convinced that the first letter was, uh, it was to be a double consonant. So, the first two letters were consonants. That's what I thought, but nope, I guessed wrongly. A repeated vowel, repeated A in the first and third positions. And the other consonants are also quite common, so yeah, it's alright. Just the vowels that are kinda tricky. And some people might not think of RM, which is also not an uncommon combination, so it happens. So yeah, I think it's alright. Alright performance, I'll take it. Got today's Wordle answer alarm in 4 tries. This is Wordle number 1432. Let's now move on to New York Times Sudoku. Again, today is May 21st, 2025. Let's start the hard difficulty Sudoku for today. The digit 4 in block 2 is forced into one of these two cells. This 4 points left and this 4 points down. So in block 4, the digit 4 is forced into row 6. And 4 in block 5 goes into one of these two cells. The digit 3 in block 2 is forced into this cell. These 3's points down, and this cell sees another 3. So in block 8, the digit 3 is forced into this cell. Then these 3's points right, and this cell sees another 3, and 3 goes into one of these two cells in block 4. These 6's points right, and this cell sees another 6. So in block 6, the digit 6 is forced into this cell. This 6 points left, and the 6 points down. So in block 8, the digit 6 is forced into column 9. So 6 is here, and this 6 points up, where this cell sees another 6. This 7 points left, and this 7 points down. So in block 7, the digit 7 is forced into column 1. So a hidden 7 here, and this 7. Well, they point up, but they go into one of these 3 cells, which I'm not going to mark for now, which is my usual practice, because I only mark the digits. Well, unless it's a triple, or just filling out the missing digits of a row, column, or block. If not, then I won't really mark down digits that are possible to lie in 3 open cells. I mean, it's just a practice, so you can do whatever you want with the markings. Alright, well, the digit 9 in block 8 is forced into this cell, and 9 in block 5 goes into one of these two cells. Now, this 9 points right and... Sorry, did not mean to mark a 6. The digit 9 in block 3 is forced into column 8. Right? We have these 9s pointing in. So, in block 3, 9 is forced into one of these two cells. It's guaranteed. So, we have a 9 in this column. They both lie in column 8. So I can't have another open cell in this column contain another 9. So now in row 4, I can actually place 9. 9 is a missing digit of row 4, so it has to go somewhere in this row, but this cell sees 9, this cell sees 9, this cell sees 9, and this cell sees a hidden 9. So now in row 4, only this cell is available for 9, because all other open cells in this row see another 9. So 9 is forced into this cell in this row, because it's, again, the only cell available for 9 in this row. It can only go here. Um, Alright, then the digit 6 in block 8 is forced into this cell. Then these 6s point left, and this cell sees another 6. Alright, in block 8, the missing digits are 4, 5, and 8. This cell sees 8, so it's 4, 5. These are 4, 5, or 8. Alright, in column 7, the missing digits are 1, 2, and 7. This cell sees 2 and 7. So, oh, and this cell also sees 2, so even better. This cell sees 2 or 7, so among the missing digits, this cell can only be a 1, and this cell also sees 2. So 2 can only go here, making this cell a 7 to complete the column. Now 7 goes into one of these two cells in block 5. Now these 2's points left. These ones also point left, so there is a 1-2 pair formed in these two cells. As you can see in block 7, the digits 1 and 2 are missing. These 1s and 2s force both 1 and 2 into these two cells only. So in order to fit both 1 and 2 into block 7, I have to make these two cells reserved for 1 and 2. Right? Because, again, both 1 and 2 can only go into these two cells. In order to fit both 1 and 2 into block 7, I have to make these two cells reserved for 1 and 2. So these two cells form the 1-2 pair, and all other digits are eliminated from these two cells. 7 is certainly not 1 or 2, so 7 is now eliminated from these two cells. With these 7s, the digit 7 in block 7 is forced into this cell. Now these 7s point right. This 5 points down, so in block 7, the digit 5 is forced into row 8. Apart from 1 and 2, 4 and 8 are the other missing digits. The cell sees 4, so 8, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4, 8. This cell is 4, 5, or 8 for the row. Okay, 5 and 2 here points right. And as you can see in block 6, the digits 2 and 5 are missing. Both 2 and 5 in block 6 can only go into these two cells. So in order to fit both 2 and 5 into block 6, I have to make these two cells reserved for 2 and 5. So these two cells form the 2-5 pair, and all other digits are eliminated from these two cells, making the other two open cells in block 6 a 1-3 pair. Now we've got a hidden 3 here. 3 in block 6 is guaranteed into one of these two cells, which both lie in the same row. In this case, row 5. So I can't have another open cell in this row. Container 3. 3 cannot go into this cell anymore because it sees the whole 1-3 pair. So a hidden 3 here eliminates 3 from this cell and gets 3 placed in this cell in block 4. Okay, 1-3 pair makes the other 3 open cells in row 5 a 4, 8, 9 triple. This cell sees 8 and 9. So 8 and 9 can only go into these two cells in this row, forcing this cell to contain a 4. Right? Of course, this cell cannot be 1 or 3, and it also can't be the other missing digits 8 or 9. So this cell has to be a 4, leaving these two cells to be 8 and 9. So you can call that an 8-9 pair. This cell, well, among the missing digits of block 8, this cell sees 4 and 8. So it can only be a 5, leaving the other two cells to be a 4-8 pair. Okay, now in row 7, the digit 5 is forced into this cell. Now, in this 2-5 pair, it is resolved by placing 2 and 5 this way, because this cell now sees a 5. The digit 5 in block 5 is forced into this... Sorry, misclicked. 5 is forced into this cell. Then these 5s point up where this cell sees another 5. Also, I think a digit got placed, right? Did it? Not sure, but anyway, in row 4, the missing digits are 1 and 8. Well, this cell sees an 8. This cell sees an 8, so 1 and 8 placed this way. Now this cell cannot be an 8, so 9 and 8 this way. And 9 is forced into this cell in block 5, leaving a 2-7 pair behind, but this cell sees a 2. So 7 and 2 this way to complete the block. Up here, this is a 7 to complete this column. Now 1 and 4 are missing from row 6. In column 5, 1, 4, and 8 are the missing digits. Well, 8 is forced into this cell, and this cell is a 4. This is also a 4 to complete the row. These two cells are down to 7 and 8 because they're the other missing digits of row 9, which leaves these two cells to be 3 and 4. But this cell sees a 4. So 3 and 4 this way. This cell sees a 4, so 1 and 4 this way. Last 4 in this Sudoku puzzle is forced into this cell. Now, the digit 1 is forced into this cell in block 4. This cell now sees a 1, so 2 and 1 this way. These 1s point up, and this cell sees another 1. We have these 2s pointing up. 2, 5, and 6 are the missing digits of column 4. Alright, in column 2, 6, 8, and 9 are the missing digits. This cell sees 9, and this cell also sees 9. So the digit 9 in column 2 is forced into this cell, leaving behind a 6, 8 pair. Now 9 in this cell is eliminated, so the digit 9 in block 3 is forced into this cell. Alright, in row 1, the missing digits are 2, 5, and 8. This cell sees 2 and 8. It sees 2 and 8, so this cell is forced to be a 5, but this cell also sees 8. So it is forced into this cell in the row, making this cell a 2 to complete this row. This 2 helps place the 6 and 5, because this 5. And then the digit 5 in block 7 is forced into this cell. Okay, actually all 5s are placed. Now in block 3, 1, 2, and 7 are the missing digits. This cell sees 2, so it's 1 or 7. 1, 2, 7. There's something's wrong with this column. Yeah, this cell sees an 8. So 7 and 8 this way. The 7 comes back up, and this cell sees a 3. So 1 and 3 this way to complete the column, leaving a 2, 7 pair in column 9. Now this cell sees an 8, so 6 and 8 this way. This is a 6. 1 and 7 are the missing digits, and in column 1, 2 and 8 are missing from this column. But this cell sees an 8. So 2 and 8 this way, and this Sudoku puzzle is complete. Alright, so I finished today's New York Times Hot Sudoku in a bit, well, just around 12 minutes. In 12 minutes. So I would say the Sudoku puzzle is mostly straightforward, in terms of hot difficulty, because typically, New York Times Hot Sudokus are, yeah, around this difficulty, but slightly trickier. So this one, I would say it's mostly straightforward. I'll go over the key spots as a quick summary. So, there were some pairs and triples that you needed to see, which would greatly, speed up your progress. For example, the 1-2 pair in block 7. The 1-2 pair in block 7 helped place the 7 and gave us the remaining digits as the markings, not place, but just mark them down. But anyway, the main point is the 1-2 pair in block 7. There's also the 1-3 pair in block 6 after placing all the digits in column 7 and it was the 2-5 pair first before the 1-3 pair. The reason why I found the 1-3 pair is because of the 2-5 pair. So after placing the 9, 7, and 6, you could find the 2-5 pair in block 6, and then this 1-3 pair helped place the 4 as well as the 8-9 pair in the same row, in row 5. I don't think there were any other tricky spots. At least I don't recall them. In this Sudoku puzzle, there were more just looking at rows or columns, or sometimes maybe even blocks, but mostly rows or columns, to find out some digits with limited possibilities. That way you can... It's more likely to place digits in that case. But anyway, the key spots in this Sudoku puzzle are the 1-2 pair in block 7 and the 2-5 pair in block 6. I feel like these were the most key. So yeah. That's about it for this video. Don't really recall any tricky spots. Of course, if you have any other questions or difficulties, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll be glad to reply you and hopefully this video helped. So if you ask me, I would say it's mostly straightforward compared to usual hard Sudokus on New York Times. Well, today is May 21st, 2025. In this video, I've solved Wordle number 1432 and New York Times hard Sudoku for today. See you all next time. Bye!